Hello, everybody. Welcome to the April Spiel live stream 2021. We'll be bringing you tonight the B semifinals. In just a few moments, those games will get going, and we'll pick one to join and follow along until we decide to switch to another one. So here we're going to be having Michael Lively versus Dan Hazlitt. Looks like Dan has the hammer to start us off, so we'll see how Michael goes after the first end. Puts up a nice tight center guard. Start it off. It looks like a nice come around right to the, just rubs off the center guard. Still going to be pretty good, though. It's probably going to be about 2/3 exposed. See if Michael's going to be in the mood to chase it or play a little more aggressively. Looks like he's planning to play the come around freeze, and it's just coming up just a little light. It's not a bad situation, though. He's got two center guards. Those are going to be pretty tough to double peel. So if you can ever get one buried around there, you'd be in a good situation to steal. Oh, and the come around wrecks in the guard. That's why they're there, aren't they? Let's see if he's going to take on the run back or just try and come around it again. That yellow one's a little bit high in the 8-foot, so it can sort of act like a guard. The awesome orca hat came from this mysterious online retailer called Amazon, located here in Seattle. Some pronounce it Amazon. It was a pretty good deal. Lots of April Spiel costumes tend to come from Amazon. We had a decent come around, but it was left a little open, and I need to zoom out a little bit to just remind myself of the colors. Dan looked like he was trying to maybe tap it back a little bit. Didn't quite get to the nose. Did tap it back, lies shot, but Michael has the opportunity to maybe get across the face, hit and roll under cover, and lie two. Does get it slightly across the face, doesn't get as big a roll as he wanted. Lies two, really putting the pressure on here in the first end. Another one. Little struggles to get to the inside. Stays there. Leaves Michael lying the one. Dan does sit second and third, though, so Michael has to be a little careful here. This looks like he's trying to guard the run back, and I'd say he did a pretty good job. Might have left an eighth of the rock open on the left side. And by the judge of the broom, it looks like he's going to try and come around the outside, the whole pile. Maybe go straight back to that blue one, sit on the nose. If you can ever tap it back a couple feet, he'd be sitting 2 or 3. So he's through the port. Just a little too heavy. Slides right on by. Looks like Michael might try the same thing. Hopefully a little less weight for him. My mistake. It looks like it's a guard. Covers a little bit more of that port, but I still think it's open for the draw. It's all about reading the ice right now, finding the groove and getting the weight appropriately. This is the B bracket semifinal, so they've got some skills. We'll be seeing some good shots tonight for sure. Like this one here, coming straight through the port, tapping the blue back, enough to lie 3. Great shot. We're down to skip stones here. Big weight shot, move some things around. Let's see if Dan here can really put the pedal to the metal. Draw another one in there. Going for a big 4 or 5 point end early in the game. This is just going to plug the hole, and 3 would be a very, very good outcome for the end. So no need to get greedy. It's a good guard. I don't know if the port's there anymore. It might just be big enough, but it also might just be easier to try and raise that right blue one back. We'll see what they opt for here. We see a lot of indecision with the broom right now, being moved several different locations as they contemplate their options. Now it looks like they may have decided to try and draw around the open side, grab a chunk of the forefoot, and maybe cut them down to 1 or 2. Sweep that, sweep, hurry! Pretty good weight there, just needed a little bit more sweeping. Does outcount one of the yellows and cuts down that draw path on the left side a bit. We'll see if Dan here gets a little aggressive and tries to pop it out for a big end, or draws in for just a 3. He's going for the hit, right on the nose. Jams it on the back blue. He's going to get away with 2. No harm, no foul. 2 with the hammer. Mission accomplished. See what Michael can do with the hammer in the second end. The great thing about online curling is there's really not much of a between end break. It's just all action, 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 action. We're not going to cut away to commercials. You'll get to see these lead stones all night long. Nice center guard there. And by the looks of the broom, we might be getting a corner guard. First corner guard of the night. I'm not sure that corner guard is as successful as they'd have liked it. It's not very far off the center line, and so I think it just locks down the right side of the house for that draw of the button in case they need it later in the end. We'll see how that comes into play. Dan here is coming around his own center guard. Doesn't quite finish all the way behind the guard, but great weight, top 4 foot. Sits 1 and is going to tease Dan into figuring out what he's going to do with the hammer here now. This looks like he might just be playing a little freeze or a tiny bump. Give quite a bit of broom, so I don't think he's trying to hit it, at least not hit it very far. Ends up rubbing on the guard. I think it was just a little bit light. It is open now, and I was saying that guard on that corner guard wasn't the best. Now there's 2 of them. That's a very big guard to hide behind. If they can ever hit and roll off the center, that would be pretty hard to get rid of. Nice center guard there. Covers up the shot stone yet again. The other nice thing about online curling is the players can have a little bit of a conversation. You might be able to see here in the chat, they're discussing where they curl out of. Dan curls out of the Finger Lakes Curling Club in Ithaca, New York. I don't have much of a bio on these 2 players to share with you like Russ or Cheryl do on TSN. So nice of them to provide some in the chat for me. I myself learned to curl out of the Finger Lakes region in Rochester, New York. Michael started curling in 2002 out of Broomstones, which is in Massachusetts. Nice center guards put up again. Broomstones may be the only club in the country that has a better roof or ceiling in their arena than Granite does. As Michael peels the guard away again. The wings are starting to get a little crowded here. He's got to make either a run back or hope for a little bit of a missed guard here, I think. Otherwise, the drop paths are going to be a little crowded. One of the things you want to keep in mind when you're when you're skipping a team and calling strategy is leaving yourself a way to score with the hammer, especially if it doesn't look like you're going to be able to blank. And usually that means keeping a draw path, your out turn or your in turn, left side or right side of the sheet open. And right now, all those draw paths are blocked by guards, peels that haven't quite gone all the way out of the ring, out of play. So it'd be a little bit of a challenge to get in there to score right now. This one looks like it's going to be closer to a run back than a straight peel, but it crosses the face, rolls off to the other side. Reading the line in this game can be a little tricky, especially this online version, not just in real life. The center line, particularly on this platform, can be a little treacherous. So if he keeps putting up these nice center guards, it can be a real challenge to run it back. Did anyone in this virtual spiel break COVID protocols? Let's see. I don't have a way of polling the audience. I'm not sure we had specific protocols in place. We'll have to get maybe a post-game interview with one of the Spiel managers and get their take on our COVID protocols. For those of you that haven't heard, there was a positive test from one of the eliminated teams as they were exiting the World Championships. Oh, and the run back, so close, knocking them off the forefoot. At the World Men's Championships, there was a positive test, and so those semifinals, which were supposed to be today, were delayed. Hopefully they'll start to resume tomorrow if they've done all their contact tracing and additional testing. We're into the skip stones now, and another center guard's put up, and that one looks like it's buried in there. It's going to be really tough to peel that off and not wreck into another guard. And the danger is, if you pick the wrong direction or get a little unlucky, it could spin into the house after ricocheting off something else. And that could open up a steal of 2. We are playing 8 ends here in the playoffs rounds, in the elimination rounds. And so there's plenty of curling left. That was a attempted run back / promote that didn't quite get the angle right. And now, not being forced to protect their center guard, Dan's going to have the opportunity to come around the pile and lie 2. Looks like it's around the guards. Is it going to finish? Look at this. Nice shot right around the guards, top of the tee line. Let's see how Michael responds with the hammer. Can he cut it down? Can he escape with his 1? Oh, he just touches the guard. It looked like he was trying to peel out the second shot stone and concede the 1. Instead, it'll be a steal of 2, 4-0 going into the third. Michael Lively will retain the hammer. Let's see if he can bounce back here in the third end. Another nice center guards. Both of these players in these first two ends seem to have mastered their center guards. We have an update from the other semifinal, and Kathy Justice is up 2-0 in that game. Against the Papin. Got a little bit of an interesting end brewing here. Uh-oh. I don't see anything moving. There it goes. Might have lost connection for a brief second. Now I see brooms moving. Michael lies 1 in the top 12, and it looks like he's going to come around those two center guards. Rubs off, ends up with a little bit of a tick, and if it stops there, be a nice guard on his shot stone. Dan plays the come around of his two, we'll call them off-center guards. They're not quite center and they're not quite corner. We've seen this a little bit in the Men's World Championships, particularly when people need to steal late. And those guys will do it intentionally because it's a little harder to make the tick. And by the end of the end, you might be teasing your opponent into playing a draw, an open draw to the button against the loss. Picks it out. Michael's shot stone yet again at the top 12. Might just be inching the broom in a little bit here, trying to bury this one a little bit better than last time. Nope, my mistake. There's some heat on this rock. He's playing the run back double. Nice shot. Does leave several guards, though. Perhaps a chance for Michael to bury behind some of them now. interesting decision here, attempting to bury behind the single rather than the double guards. The double being a slightly wider area being covered since they're a little staggered, and because there's two of them, it would be hard to run back. But a nice draw. Looks like it's dead buried. A little deep in the house, though. Perhaps an opportunity to freeze. This one's taking its time to curl across the center line. There it goes. Is it deep enough? Just comes up to bite the top of the forefoot, but Michael remains shot stone in the back of the four. He's got a little tricky shot here if he wants to remove it. Has to be careful to not hit it on the high side and run it back onto his own. Takes ice on the edge of the button and lets it fly. Starting to move now. Noses it. Rolls just a little bit to the right. Lies 2. There might be a double opportunity there. But that might be all that there is, clearing the house. I think the double opportunity would roll out, and then they would reset, and another game of cat and mouse would ensue, trying to go under the guards, and double attempt just narrowly misses the back one and rolls to the back 12 foot. So an opportunity here to get a second one in scoring position. Michael decides to play the nose hit on the outside. Successfully made, right in the beak. Splits the house and lies 2. Does leave the front of the house open for Dan here to try and draw into. And the draw is with backing, so if this curls, unfortunately it did not. It is on the nose, though. I don't think you can remove it or even move it without nudging that blue. Down by 4, you might have to just make that sacrifice, get on the board. You remove those 2 backstones, you'd still be lying 2. You'd have crept up the T line a bit, and you can get yourself on the board with a 2 or a 3 here, back in the game. He could, on the other hand, opt to go a little softer, hoping to maybe cross the face a little bit and pop it to the back of the house, or if he gets across it all the way, maybe even all the way out. And that one's hugging the center line for a while. Moves late in the end. Makes the double. Lies 2 again, and it looks like Dan will just try and hit that one off the button, concede 2, take the hammer up 2 in the 4th. He gets a nice roll under cover. There is quite a bit of space between the guard and that shot stone, and they've thrown that inside out line a couple times now. Let's see if he can come down, pop it out of the forefoot, get his deuce. Looks like he opted to just draw for one here, and he comes up a little short. It's going to be another steal of one. Looks like there might be a little bit of broom stacking going on here. Dan says he's going to go grab a drink, which is not unexpected at the April Spiel. One of the most fun spiels on the planet, and that has been documented in at least 2 curling periodicals. So bear with us as we wait for play to resume. I will check in on the other B semifinal and any other active games and try to get you a score update.
Goldline Curling Supply commented on the Facebook post saying good curling.
I can't speak for Bond Spiels on other planets, so I can only say that April Spiel is one of the most fun on this planet. Until Elon Musk all gets us up in space with some space tourism, we can't spiel on Mars or anything, but it's hard to imagine a spiel more fun than this one. In normal years, when we have all the decorations matching the theme, signature cocktails, late night menus themed accordingly, it's a blast. Not to mention all the costumes. Update from the other B semifinal. Kathy Justice has increased her lead to 4-1 over Nick Papin. El Presidente, Phil Shryock, is up 5-1 in that C semifinal game. And Mr. Ryan Dorfler, another one of our board members, if I'm not mistaken, is up 5-1 on Alex Zimmerman. We've got an interesting end brewing here. Center guards, another corner attempt, a little further off the center line this time, but one on the top of the button belongs to Dan from Finger Lakes Curling Club, and 2 center guards protecting it. Looks like Michael's going to be trying the run back / double peel. Either would be good, but stuffs it a little bit, rolls to the center line, effectively leaving the same 2 center guards covering up Dan's shot stone. Looks like he might be playing a little conservative here and putting another Orca whale hat on it. Up 5-0. There's no real pressing issue to get greedy here, and so covers it up quite nicely. It's a pretty good double peel there. But the problem remains, those two in the center. So I think Dan's just going to be content to throw up guard after guard. This one's a little deeper. Not sure if that's biting the rings or not. If we're in the flob territory. Flob, of course, is a funny little outside biter. But in this case, it could be a Finger Lakes outside biter. Guard is removed and rolls to what could also be a flob there on the right side of the 12-foot. If he's ever able to get that one off the button, that one could come into play. When you're down, every rock in play matters. That guard looks like it came a little deep. There might be an opportunity for a double, maybe even a triple peel there. Get access to the shot stones. Ends up nosing the center guard straight back and picking himself off of the 4-foot. A little bit of bad luck. They are now both blue on the center line. If that same run back is made again, it would be blue onto yellow, and that could leave him lying sitting 2. Dan trying to wrap another one around and put the pressure on. That one will effectively take the biter on the outside out of play for the moment. Makes Michael have to deal with 2 yellow now in counting position. We'll see if he goes after the outside one or plays that run back again. Can't get past the guard, peels it away, opens it up. That would be a fairly easy double. So I think Dan's going to have to guard that back up. Might be drawing here, though. Lie 3 is just as good in this situation. I don't believe he's left a triple. I think Michael will have to resort to the blast with hammer and see what he can get. Might cut him down to 1. Might be able to spill all 3. And then we'll see if that one on the outside is indeed a biter. Just hits it a little thick and doesn't get the angle on the center stones. We'll end up giving up a steal of 2. Even though the score line is kind of lopsided at the moment, we've had some pretty interesting ends. Lots of rocks in play. We'll stick with this game for now and see if we can get some more excitement out of this one. As another center guard goes up. We'll see if he tries the corner guard again, or maybe goes to a Maybe a tick option. Or maybe just coming straight around and getting to the button first. Dan's had great success in getting to the button first and planting himself there and being pretty irremovable. So looks like Michael's going to try and get there first this time. Little heavy, but mostly buried. Shot stone for the moment. Nice freeze by Dan from the Finger Lakes Curling Club. That is going to be tricky to remove. And that's why it's not great to be behind the tee line. One rock higher and blue would still be shot stone. And the pressure would flip a little bit more back to Dan's side. I think Michael was trying to curl that to the inside. Just came a little light. A little bit of a tap there and unlock it wouldn't have been bad. And sitting shot, dominating the scoreboard, content to put up the center guard once again. Dan's really going to fight over the 4-foot now. Looks like he's trying to play draw weight to the button. If he ever over curls and taps that yellow a little bit, could end up setting himself up for a run back for a handful. Nice draw there. Does touch the yellow, gets shot stone out of it, changes the angles a little bit. Dan's going to follow him in, see if he can't freeze on it, jiggle it around in a way and change the angles back into his favor. Glues it on the corner, and I'm not sure that's exactly what he wanted. I'm thinking that a high hard one could kind of hit that yellow one on the nose, maybe just to the inside, maybe get both yellows to go and lie 3. Yeah, 3 would definitely let Michael back into this game. Looked like he was trying to freeze to the pile again, but wrecks on the guard. It's not a bad situation, though. He still has that run back to the shot I was explaining. Run that blue back onto the nose of that yellow. See if you can get all the yellows moving out of the house and sit 3 blues. So Dan puts up the center guard, but doesn't, maybe just barely covers that run back. Because the blue wants to cross the face in the yellow a little bit, I think that's the wrong side to have guarded that rock. Question, as always, in most curling games is, when's the time to act? We're in the middle of the end. Is now the time to make a play on those yellow ones? Or do you try and throw another setup shot or two? Maybe try and clean things up and hope it looks better for you in a couple shots down the line. This looks like it's a double or triple run back, but it's curling. Let's see if it's just a double peel. Indeed, double peel, leaves it on the center line. The left side run back is now wide open. And I'm not sure if there's much to be done on the right side. So Dan is going to play that run back on his own, and oh, that's what I was talking about. Spills all the yellows. Blue lies 3 under center guards. I think Michael's going to heave a sigh of relief and then try and put this one on the button in lie 4 with vices last. This one looks to be on a good line. Sweepers have it. Sweepers are just going to walk this one in with no yellow stones in the house. Just touching the paint will count. Blue lies 4. Is Dan going to take a stab at blasting 2 or 3 of these out of the rings? Looks like he's going to try the slash on the right side for the 2 on the 4-foot. That would open up the scoring area and allow him to maybe draw on his last, but he wrecks on the guard, and blue still lies 4. Now, this tends to be a tricky situation, and when you've got it going good and you want to make it better, but you don't want to give your opponent any easier shots. Right now, there's maybe 1 easy double, somewhat easy double, and so by adding a 5th stone to the rings, are you going to be giving them more options? Looks like Michael's just trying to pile on here. If you can maybe get to the nose of that top 4-foot stone and tap it up, make what they call a Christmas tree. That's a pretty good draw. I think he's got to resort to playing another blast and cutting him down, taking the hammer with a lead. Based on the broom, it looks like he's either trying to hit and roll in off the outside one or run that corner yellow back into the 4-foot. Looks like it's going to be the raise to get the angle right. He gets the angle to cut down 3 of the blue stones. Blue now only lies 2. So is there a way to work some magic, score a 5 or a 6 with a couple ends left in the game? The run back seems to be the most obvious way to achieve that, but you might be able to blast those blues, the 2 blues that are angle frozen at the top one in the 12-foot might spin over into the yellow, but that one looks like it would go straight on to the side 8-foot blue. So that would be not a very good outcome. Probably wouldn't change much, might just score 3. This is a big shot. This is a game-changing shot. The other option is to take a lot of ice down the outturn side and draw to the full 8-foot, a little bit more for... Oh no! He ran out of time to throw his last shot. That stone is effectively burned by online curling rules. And he'll just take the 2 he was lying at the time. I had a friend on the college chess team that would say pressure breaks pipes. And I think the time pressure may have gotten to him there. Still, he's on the board. Down by 5. Weirder things have happened in this crazy sport. Apparently there's some fun that I'm not a part of in the Zoom meeting right now that is distracting our players. Center guard goes up, and Dan ticks it just off the center line and rolls into the house. I'm not sure if he was trying to come around and just bury, but that's not a bad outcome, especially with a 5-point lead. And the hammer. Opportunity, though, perhaps to set up a second center guard and really put the pressure on towards a steal. Looks like instead he's opted to maybe play the hit and roll coming away from the center line. And just a little soft weight. Taps it back, stays in front. A little bit of cat and mouse here. Can't quite play a straight takeout game because that would favor the team with the lead. So playing a little soft, maybe end up trying to tap some things to the back of the house so that set up some jams here or there. Tap that one a little far, lets himself be tapped out of the rings. Oh, that was a free guard. So no, it was not a free guard. My mistake. Just because it hit the nose, I thought the position had reset, but it's a different color now. That yellow on the top of the rings, though, is effectively a center guard. If you can make this hit and roll under, you'd have some pretty good protection. There's a thematic joke being put into the chat, which is, what do you call a pod of musical whales? An orchestra. Badum-tsh. So that takeout's going to roll out of the house, and Michael will be left with 2 center guards he can draw around. That yellow one is in the house, just biting, but for all intents and purposes in this moment, he has to treat it like a center guard. Draw around, try and force Dan into playing that run back. Run backs are pretty hard in this game. The promote here is not the end of the world. Crossface a little bit, pushing it a little bit to the outside. But that center guard does now move to a little bit closer to the center line. Closer to the center line means it would be covering more of the button. If he ever draws around it, that's closer to the scoring area. Nice run back there. Is going to get rid of both of the blues. Oh, come on, Skip. Sweep that out. 6 feet of fury. The blue hangs on to the 12-foot. He is shot stone at the moment. Does Dan have a second life in him here? Is he going to be able to put the pressure on and steal back a 5-point deficit? Let's find out. Nice draw there. Comes around to the top of the button. Might be a little exposed on the outside, but it's buried enough that I think Dan's just going to try the run back, and if he peels it off, he's happy with that. does indeed peel it off. Rolls all the way to cover up that biter on the outside, but I don't think that's a big deal at the moment. All the action seems to be focused around the forefoot area. By peeling it off, he doesn't give Michael the opportunity to draw a third one in there. He's probably got to put up the center guard. This one's looking a little deep. And that might set up the double for Dan. I'm not sure the angles are there for the triple. Might get lucky. Throwing down the center line with the outward turn can be a little difficult. Center line likes to move a ton. And that one went a little straighter than I would have expected. Rolls into second shot position. I still think the center guard is kind of a must in this case. You have to steal here. You have to steal the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. Probably steal with more than one in each of them. At least 2 of them to have a chance. And stealing is all about controlling the center line and the forefoot. They don't seem to have shut off the live stream after that bad aquatic themed joke, so have to look up some more for tomorrow's games. The guard is made. That shot stone is nicely covered. I think now Dan's going to try the run back down on the yellow center line guard, center line biter. And this is already crossing the center line. You might just get the single peel out of it. There might have been a little bit of a hole there between the 2 guards, but ends up knocking that one out of the 12-foot as well. So the chance at a big steal now seeming to be off the table. Blue's last stone of the end has to set up that center guard. I think this looks like it's maybe trying to play the hit and roll. If he hits and rolls or just lies 2 and leaves no double, essentially saying, I'll give you my 1 or your 1. I want the hammer back, and then I want to see what you can do against my offense. Lies 2, but shot stone is exposed. Takeout look like it's going to hit it on the nose, but doesn't get a big enough roll. The gamble pays off. Steal of 1, 7-3. Dan's still in control of the game, but might want to take a second to take a deep breath. Doesn't want to let Michael back into this game much more. Maybe he's just toying with them, wants to get his full 8 ends worth. Center guard looks like it might just be drifting in the house. And they say you can't win a game as a lead, but you can surely lose it. Now that stone is in the house, it's not protected by the free guard zone. Dan can play a hit game and try and run Michael out of stones in this end. And that will significantly decrease the chances of the comeback. It's going to ignore the rock in the top 12 for now and try and get a better center guard out of it. That one will be nice and tight, short of the house. Keep an eye on that stone in the top of the 12-foot right now. That might come into play at the end of this end. It's kind of at a 45-ish degree angle to the button. Maybe a little steeper than that. But it might be an option for an in-off under the center guards by the end of the end. That come around looks like it's a half open. Right now, can't play big weight at it, but you can certainly try and tap it off into the back of the house. Like before, try and set up some jams. This looks like it's not curling a bunch. The weight's probably a little heavy. It's definitely heavy for that line. Goes through the house. That's an unforced error. Maybe some technical difficulties factoring in with that heavy draw. Looks like the mouse got stuck for Michael. And we'll call that a digital pick, although I guess a pick would have stopped. Dan ends up giving Michael a center guard, and Michael's going to try and come around here and set up maybe second shot stone in the back of the house, leaving himself that center line run back to maybe try and steal a couple here. This is a much better draw than the intern. Interns are usually a little tighter to the broom, and so makes sense that the last come around was a little tight to that guard. That one left plenty of room. Might leave a little bit of a double, but I'm not sure you can afford to take it. Then again, can you afford to not take it? Those yellows are starting to become piled up under that center. Little tight, ends up peeling all the guards. Now the center's pretty open, and that doesn't bode well for the team without the hammer. Dan just throwing a guard on top of this. Left the center line open. Might be possible to throw a hit down there. Just off nose of that shot stone yellow. Roll under the two on the left. Probably jams on the blue in the back, but if you can get shot stone out of it, you might have a chance here in the end. This is looking really close. Just like that. Gets the angle right to lose the one in the back. No more jam there. Sits under those two yellow guards. And Dan will have a choice to make. peel something off, run something back, chase it with something soft weight. With the luxury of a 4-point lead, you can afford to peel this here. Ends up knocking his own out of the house as well, which is not so big of a deal with a 4-point lead, but definitely won't have the opportunity for a big end to really nail that coffin shut. Hand is forced a little here, has to steal out, so probably throwing up another guard. It'll be interesting to see if he draws and plays the same gambit as last end. That yellow guard is nice on the center line, just off the center line. He can get to the full 4-foot buried and give him an interesting option between hitting and drawing. Comes up to the top 12. That's not a bad spot for it. Can't nose it and be shot, but the other one is wide open, which you can nose to be shot. Which looks like that's what the play is. Gets a little bit of an inside roll, but it's wide open. I'm thinking Michael's going to try and hit and roll this under his blue, stack them, maybe roll a little bit across to be fully under the yellow guard. See if they can't get Dan to throw a hard double. Instead, noses it, leaves a pretty easy double for 2. Dan with the hammer, lining up right into the pocket. Room looks a little tight. Sweepers are going on it. Ends up a little tight to the broom. Another steal by Michael Lively. We're going to play an 8th end, only down by 3. A 7-0 lead has dwindled to a 7-4 lead. 3-point lead with the hammer has fairly good statistics in terms of win percentages. But 2 steals in a row. Nice center guard there. We'll see if he takes full advantage of the free guard zone and throws a second one higher on top of it, or starts fighting over the 4-foot right away. Dan looks like he's going straight for the 4-foot. As Michael takes broom on the edge of the 8-foot. This doesn't look light. A little bit of sweeping, a little bit of sweeping. It's by the guard. And maybe just a little tap. Nicely frozen onto that yellow rock. That's a nice setup shot for later where you can bump it back and lie 1, 2, 3, who knows? But that blue one is not going anywhere anytime soon. Michael says, you can do that? I can do that too. Comes up almost to the corner of that blue thrown rock. Gets in the way of that run back. Might want to try and play a little soft bumper weight, maybe control at most. Try and hit the inside of that yellow rock and roll to the wing. You're going to need 3 points to tie the game, and so you're going to need a miss somewhere. But if you could stash away some rocks in the sides of the house somewhere and get them to be ignored, those could be winning points, or tying points to say the least. Wrecking on the guard there doesn't seem like it's going to help, though. Dan throwing a takeout down the center line. Looks like he's just going to try and hit the blue and either lose both the blue and the yellow, or just the back one. Blue one scored sideways in his third shot, but there's no double for blue to lie 2. So with 5 rocks left for blue, this one looking like it's going to be a hit on the left yellow, which is made on the nose. Got to find a way to get 3 counters in there so that Dan has to throw against at least the tie. This one coming down to the wire in a tale of 2 halves. Michael dominated the first half with 7 points, taking all 4 ends in the first half, but the second half has so far been... Sorry, Dan dominated the first half. The second half has been all Michael, scoring his deuce and getting 2 steals so far. Hits continue on the outside here. We'll see if this one tries to roll it in under that yellow center. My mistake. This is the draw, which doesn't get around the yellow. It does bump it a bit. The angle now on the double looks a little better, but the jam on the side is dangerous. He's going to throw the takeout down the center line and just try and run Michael out of rocks. Hits, rolls away, makes that angle on the yellow better. Now there's really no double, though there might be a triple. And with 3 rocks to go, you've got 2 options. Throw the triple, clear the yellow out and hope for a couple misses, or draw under the pile, try and force yellow to throw some runbacks, maybe get your misses that way, which is what it's trying to do here. Throws the draw. It's got a curl. It's got a curl. It's not quite buried. So if the takeout's made here, the 3 counting stones will have to include the one in the 12-foot. And that kind of forces the issue into throwing the triple sooner than later, because if you bury one around there, you risk jamming on yourself when you throw the triple later. So this one probably wants to be biting the back edge of the 8-foot in terms of depth as the draw around is attempted. The idea there being it's far enough back that when you try to bring that 12-foot rock into play, you've got room to manipulate the angles so that you don't jam. That comes up short. So now Dan has the opportunity to put a 4th one in the rings and make it really hard to score the 3. He's going to take out the one on the side, try to take out the one on the side. He does, and that'll end the game. Only able to steal 2. We've mathematically eliminated. They'll throw the rocks for fun. Maybe we'll see a spinorama or a little trick shot. Just kidding. You can't see those in online curling. If only, right? And that'll do it. Dan of the Finger Lakes Curling Club's moving on to the B final. Michael had a very lively run, but unfortunately, his April Spiel journey ends tonight. Toast to Michael. Thanks for playing. Let's try and switch over here to the 8th end of the other B semifinal. We've got Kathy up 6-3 on Nick. And Kathy lies 2 on what looked like a erroneous shot from Nick. Seemed to have took himself out. With no guards in play, it's going to be really tough without the hammer for Nick to steal for the tie here. So Kathy's just going to split the house, get some rocks in the rings, keep the center line open, keep both draw paths open. Utilize that hammer in a very defensive manner. Nick tries to play the freeze, comes up a little short. As Kathy so wisely noted in the chat, freezes are tough. Limited options force him to try that freeze down on the left side. Downside being Kathy with the hammer is left with the center line and both draw paths. Draw path gets a little tighter with that blue rock there, but with a 3-point lead, doesn't really need it. This freeze, on the other hand, looks like it's perfect weight. Nice shot. Great freeze. Doesn't get shot out of it, but that blue is going to be hard to remove. You've got to take what you can get when you're down by 3, and that would be a good setup shot. Just has to stash a few more rocks. That blue on the top 12 now could be dangerous if the freeze is ever made on that side too. Looks like Kathy might be trying to chase that one, maybe bump it off those angles, but it's not curling enough. Going to draw around the stack for second shot, but it looks like it's wired to that blue-yellow combination. If the runback's ever played, that seems like it's an automatic double. Decision time for Nick. Got to play a freeze somewhere. Is it the same freeze he just played? Or is it the freeze to the other side under the 12-foot guard? Under a minute of thinking time left for Nick here. We saw in our last match that became a little bit of an issue with the time trouble. Opting to play a hit on the outside one. That might have been the attempt at the double, but ends up lying 6th shot. So his next 2 stones are going to be incredibly important. Confirmed, was looking for the double. Looks like Kathy's trying to line up that little tap on the side again, maybe unlock it, try and get rid of that really nice blue freeze over there. It's coming in pretty nice. That's a great shot. That takes away that run back. Kathy lies 3. Forces Nick's hand into playing at those now. Can't stash the guard over on the other side because the angles on those yellows aren't conducive to a triple. And Kathy has another shot to come, so 2 more shots to come. So has to be able to maybe quadruple those after Kathy's next shot. That rock's going to come up light and would need a catastrophic failure from Kathy to get back in this game. Throwing it to the boards or throwing it through the house wouldn't be an unusual call in this type of scenario. Uh-oh. More technical difficulties. MacBook Air accidentally clicked that draw. Or perhaps they unclicked that draw, why it came up light. Unfortunate break for the Papin. Kathy gets a great line on that now and sits on the corner. And I don't think even Jason Gunlickson can throw hard enough to get rid of 6 spread out yellow stones at once. Might have a go of it here, though, just for fun. Does get a couple moving, but the blue one shoots across the 4-foot for second shot. Kathy's going to move on to the final. As Kathy takes a little bit of a victory dance here, throwing her last stone with the hammer. Ticks out of the 4-foot to put another 2 on the board. Finish the game off. And with that, I think that completes our April Spiel coverage for the evening. Thank you all for joining. We've got the finals tomorrow, so be sure to join us again then. This is Chris Applesauce Sherry signing off.